Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about the Republican steps and missteps along the way that led to the lack of a red wave. I've had a lot of people send messages. Was it really just young people that shifted this? They were instrumental, and without them, things would look very, very different. They would look like the predictions. But that's not it. That's not the only thing that led to the situation the Republican Party finds itself in. I mean, an obvious one was Roe. Overturning that. It drove negative voter turnout. Surprise, people like their rights. They don't like being told what to do. A party that constantly rails about personal freedom should understand that. But that party has, well, they've given up on anything other than rhetoric. That had a lot to do with it. Another thing, as pointed out while it was happening repeatedly, was that the Republican Party reduced its own voting base. When they advocated against people taking precautions during our public health issue, it was their party that lost the most people. They don't vote. I mean, once they're gone, that's it. They sacrificed a lot of their party to, quote, keep the economy going. That they wanted to bend to Trump's will so much, they let their constituents go. They didn't counter the misinformation. And it led to them losing people that would have voted for them. They would have been around another couple of elections. But they're not. So it hastened the importance of the younger vote. And in areas where it was tightly contested, the people that were lost, that might have been the difference. And we talked about this on this channel while it was happening. And we went over the percentages involved and how counties that were more likely, or counties that voted for Biden, were more likely to have higher vaccination rates. I mean, it's just math on that one. And then they backed the baseless claims about the election. Here's the thing. If you constantly tell people that their vote doesn't matter, they're probably not going to go stand in line. They're probably not going to go vote. The Republican Party has been on this kick because they were told to by Trump. And they pushed this idea that the elections, well, they were all compromised in some way, with no evidence to back it up, of course. But their base, they don't require evidence. They require, well, being told what to believe. So when they said that the elections were compromised, their base believed it. So why would they go vote? Depress their own turnout. The Republican Party didn't get the red wave, in large part because of its own lies. They lied to their constituents. They lost some, and they made others disinterested in showing up. I mean, you want to talk about reaping what you sow? Here it is. That was a large part of it as well. And then we can't overlook the actual policy differences, which, I mean, at this case, or in this case, at this point, the Republican Party, their policy seems to be oppose Biden. I mean, that worked with Trump because of what Trump's policies were. But when you look at Biden, his policies really aren't that controversial. They're very bland. Contrary to the Republican framing, Biden is not a leftist. He's center-right. So the status quo, most people don't find his policies objectionable. So better than Biden opposing Biden, that's not a winning strategy the way it is with Trump, whose policies were actively harmful. The lack of a red wave, the reason the Republican Party did not meet expectations, is in large part their own fault. Their own willingness to lie to their own voters. And it led to this. The demographics, the younger people voting in the numbers that they did, yeah, that's super important. And that stopped a lot of it. It stopped a lot of the loss that should have occurred on the Democratic side. When you're talking about projections, expectations, historical trends, all of that stuff. There is no way for the Republican Party to look at what occurred during these midterms and say, we did well. This should have been a situation in which the Republican Party is walking out with real control and real power. And they really didn't get it. Not the way they should have. But aside from younger people, yeah, it's their own fault. They made a mistake. The only way to correct this, by the way, is to move away from the authoritarian rhetoric, to move away from Trump and Trumpism. Those people like Trump that want to mimic that leadership style. Until the Republican Party does that, they will lose. And they will lose in bigger and bigger numbers. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.